as a result of what happened here and the fact that this teenager nearly died, this has stopped you doing pranks, is that right?
Well, we did do one after.
On who?
Me.
What did you do?
Well, I gave Harry a choice between the two. Either go for a car wash or get a display firework rocket and tie it to my penis, shoot it out my I've got a picture as well.
This is after he's been seriously hurt?
Yes.
He lit the firework.
Have I got a picture of this?
Yes.
You tell me, Harry, what this further prank involved.
Him shooting a firework out of his bum attached to his penis.
I'm sorry, I can't take any more of you, I'm afraid. I think you're an absolute moron, Carl. I'm prepared for Tony to stay here, but get out. Out! Grow up! Now, Lee, who was it that came up with the idea of the going into supermarkets and dancing around with just your pants on?
Probably, well, obviously, Cheyenne.
Let me tell you, as anybody who's ever been in my court knows, I loathe the word obviously or basically. But this is one of the most profound moments ever where the word obviously does not apply.
All right. I'd say both of us, it sort of works out. He does the dancing, I do the disco.
But you weren't at the time involved in public pranks and making money for filmed public pranks, were you?
No,
you were doing a disco.
Yeah, yeah.
You were a
right.
DJ, yes?
Yeah.
And you were making your money that way.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I would say...
The meat gag was half a strike. You're at your first. 3 and it's goodbye. And boy, will that video go viral, particularly when I throw the hat. What did you discuss with Lee would be his entitlement? What would he make out of the videos that you collectively wrote and starred in together?
Well, to be honest, we didn't talk about money at the beginning because it was just for a laugh and we were just having a good time.
Let's take it in stages. So before the first prank, you just talked about pranks. Is that right, Lee? You talked about the content.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That's right. The first time you did the prank, where exactly was it, Cheyenne?
It was in a town.
And what did you do?
Basically, he pretended he was a Russian student and we would do surveys on people and I'll make up gibbly-jabbly like language and then we just basically fool them and basically...
What sort of gibberish? I speak Russian, I'm just wondering.
Yes, I'd make up a language. I can't speak Russian or I can speak a few words of French, but I'd make up a random...
Yes, me too.
...sentence.
The word for moron is the same.
I've seen a prank on the internet.
You've seen a prank on the internet?
A few years prior.
Yes.
Of a guy hanging from his roof. Ladders just squiffed to the side. Looks like he fell off the ladder, putting Christmas lights up on the roof. I thought, I'm going to do that when I get my own house. So I did.
Hilarious!
Thank you.
It wasn't a compliment.
OK.
Now, that part of you saying that your sense of humour is shared by most people. I wrote it down in big before. On a scale of 1 to... Do you think that that's an accurate assessment of your sense of humour?
Yes.
Well, we've got pictures of what you did. Let's have a look, shall we? For the avoidance of doubt, that's not you, is it?
No.
Now, this is important. Is that dressed... It's a dummy of some description.
Yes.
Is that dressed in the clothes that you would normally wear?
They were the clothes I used to wear when I was doing a bit of gardening work or a bit of work around the front of the house.
In other words,
bought the house.
It's all right. I didn't expect you to give me a whole rundown of your wardrobe. There you are. So you put that on. Deliberately, so people would assume that it was you hanging, having fallen off the roof, putting up Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And certainly, you immediately looking up thought that it was him based upon the look of the dummy and what it was wearing.
Yes.
Now, I don't suppose for a second you brought any other evidence of what this thing looked like.
Yes, yes.
Well, there we are, Lewis. At least we've got 2 dummies in court. Have you ever been responsible for pranking Kurt?
Done little ones, but nothing like he done. He's went over the top.
What do you mean by a little prank? What sort of little prank before this joke... Before this joke Kurt played on you, what little prank did you do on Kurt?
When he was in the shower, took his clothes and threw them in the corridor, and he had to go out there wrapped in a towel.
Where was this? Was this in his home, or could it be in a public arena?
In the hotel.
In a hotel. There he was, in a shower. You took all of his clothes, and what did you do with them?
Just put them in a bag and threw them down the corridor.
So he didn't know where they were? No. And then what?
As I was looking in the corridor...
I'm over here, Kurt.
Find my clothes. He tried to rip the towel off me, so I was naked in the corridor. And then obviously locked the door, so...
And he locked the door behind you?
Yeah.
So you were in a corridor with no clothes on, committing a lewd act?
Yeah.
Could you get back into the room?
No, he wouldn't let me in. No. So...
How long were you in the corridor for?
Good minute or so. It was long enough, though. Anybody could have seen me, so...
What happened then?
Well, he obviously videoed it and put it on the internet. So...
Very good. Thank you very much. You did that, didn't you, George?
Yeah.
Yes.
I let him straight back in the room after that.
Well, let's pause, because, you see, 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 2 wrongs do make 2 morons, you see? Why did you post it online?
For the crack.
For the what?
For the laugh.
For the crack?
Yeah.
And so, because you're friends, you thought there would be a moment where you would get your revenge and do a prank yourself, right?
Yes.
Very sensible. How long did you plan it, Kurt?
I planned it the next day at work. Obviously, we worked together, so I had a bit of time to think about it.
Now, very quickly, you just explain the idea before you provide me with the video evidence.
OK.
What did you decide to do?
Put some chilli sauce in a bag, put it in the straws, cable tied it together, put it in mine as well. And obviously, when he drank it, he had a shot of chilli sauce.
So you decided to get some very hot chilli sauce and put it in his drink.
Yeah.
But I think you were more creative than that. And in fact, you were more strategic, weren't you?
Yeah.
Because you didn't just put it in his drink, you also put it in...
My own, yeah.
And you did that because you thought when he got a very hot mouthful of chilli, he'd immediately go and try and get another drink in order to quench the fire. That right?
Correct.
And you filmed this and you put it on the internet.
I did.
And it ended up getting how many viewers?
25 million.
Let's see the video, shall we? Lovely music.
Favorite time, baby.
Am I missing something, Michelle? I'm just wondering, what's funny about causing somebody injury with hot sauce? Where's the funny bit?
Well...
Did you find it funny?
No, not at all.
Were you in pain?
I was stuck on the toilet for hours.
I can imagine. But it's right to say, not only that, you miss work.
Yeah.
I've been provided with a statement from George and Kurt from your supervisor, Adam.
Yeah.
It says this: back in June 2015, Kurt tricked George into drinking chilli sauce whilst on their lunch break. George failed to return to work that day as he was suffering from stomach pains, exactly as you said. The next morning, George turned into work and was complaining that he still felt ill. I had no choice but to send him home again at lunch. Both lads, I want to be clear about this, you're good workers, but the prank was a stupid move. You've got a very sensible supervisor. I had to deduct £150 from George's wages. You do a second prank. How long afterwards?
Which one are you referring to?
Let's just call it the pot noodle incident.
Oh, yeah. That was not long ago, that wasn't.
What happened?
I've made a pot noodle, I've went in the shower to let it cool down, and he's cut loads of elastic bands up and put them in the pot noodle. I've started eating it, I've got to the bottom, realised there was half an elastic band in the bottom. Obviously went mad at Kurt, and he's told me there was 4 or 5 in there. So
Did you eat any of them?
So I've obviously swallowed about 4 elastic bands, yeah.
Yeah, that was dangerous, I will admit that one.
How is that funny?
But it's not, now looking back, it's not, and I am sorry.
Does the apology go anywhere?
Yeah, I suppose, but it's a bit out of order, to be honest.
Lloyd, some people might describe, has got a rather unusual sense of humour, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you like to play pranks on Uncle Darren.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And Darren has become, as I understand it, a rather sort of famous subject of these pranks.
I wouldn't go that, but...
Oh, I would.
Oh, OK.
And your idea, really, for what happened in this matter started when you first filmed Uncle Darren. Do you remember that? What was it for? What happened? The first film?
The very first one?
Well, let me ask Darren. You tell me all about it. What was the first one?
The first one, if I remember rightly, was probably the one where I was having a shower and all of a sudden I turn round because he comes into the bathroom and I get flour all over me. That's one of them, and he runs out. I've had it where 2 incidents with coffee. One of them on the telephone, he says, "Would you like a cup of coffee?" Next thing I get a jar of coffee thrown all over me. Then there's one where I'm asleep and he decides, because we'd been out for a drink and I was a little bit intoxicated, and...
Fell asleep in my bed.
Fell asleep in Lloyd's bed.
After saying he wanted a cup of coffee, so I poured the cup of coffee on his head for falling asleep in my bed.
No, you made the cup of coffee. You actually put coffee on my face, then the sugar, then you poured the full jug of milk on me.
I've got a bit of a delayed reaction. Hold on. Ha ha ha. Don't be stupid. Stay and watch the best Judge Rinder moments. And I'm talking. Understood? Don't be a moron. Subscribe to Judge Rinder YouTube channel. Right now. That's an order.